right.
Well, folks, we are in game 3 of the last matchup of the round of 8. It is EZAD versus Frontline. Currently 2-0 in Frontline's favor. And in the south of the map, playing in the color red as India, we do have EZAD. And in the north of the map, in the color blue, playing as India, we have Frontline. And as we said in the pregame here, Frontline really needs a win. And another thing about this Gran Chaco map, besides it being a non-TP map, is the presence of the livestock. Livestock, such an incredible boost for India because, as we know, they do get XP from the livestock that they can bring back. Currently, 3 llamas. Oh, there's a fight for the llamas here, but it looks like EZAD is going to keep his 3. He's going for the 4th of Frontline, and the llama wars intensifying here. Barron, thoughts on what India can do against India? Is it best to just try to outboom your opponent with like a Carney Mata play? Is it best to go with an early Agra and be aggressive? What do you think?
Yeah, I think in most mirror matchups, it tends to slightly favor the defensive player because they can go a little bit greedier. I do think you need some good scouting. I expect... yeah, I honestly don't really know what to expect. I think you do need some map control, so maybe we'll see a mid-map aggro from one of these players, but as you mentioned, I think Carney Mata play will also be an option. What's really important to note is this control of these llamas, because as we know, I think India gets some experience for every kind of herdable they get, right? So 5 llamas is like 0.5 XP, that's almost a church. So it's pretty solid, right? Compared to 0.3 here from ESOC. Yeah. So Frontline is here with just the slightest of edges in
and just
the beginning of the game. Yeah,
a small micro thing here by ESOC, but I don't think ESOC, are those llamas even collecting XP? Don't you have to have them next to the buildings, or do they just collect XP regardless? I can't remember.
I think you collect them regardless. You can get a Sacred Field down, which
and that
doubles their XP.
Boosts it. Okay, I was wondering if it was similar to other civs where they just have to be like in the vicinity of the building, but I don't know. Are there any llamas left on the map, Barron, or have they all been taken? It's 5 to 3
on this map, so
just 8.
Generally, you have 2 in the north here, 2 in the south, and then the same thing here. So just 8. ESOC managed to pick up 3, and Frontline picked up 5. So we're all llamas are accounted for here.
Yeah, there used to be an insane map in ESOC patch, Mongolia, where it was like you had to auto-pick India because it was a very large map, and it had just a ton of water buffalo. I think it was like 11 or 12. And so just India was picked almost every single time. But it now looks like Frontline is going up to H2. And have we taken a look at the decks yet?
No, let's take a look now. I mean, Frontline here, very standard. Shipping distributivism first. Probably foreign logging will come in at some point in H2 as well, and then you won't need that many villagers on wood. We do see him aging up with the Carney Mata, so he will be opting for a more defensive approach here, I believe. While, as I mentioned, ESOC here going for that mid-map aggro, which I think is necessary. You can't be in-base aggroing on this map if your opponent is making a Carney Mata. You'll just get outscaled very, very quickly. So here, at least he has the chance to exert some pressure on the map and I guess take control of the hunts. Let's take a look.
I just gotta say that's an excellent placement of the aggro as well. Like, look how he's wedged it in between the trading post slot and the trees. It's gonna be very hard to assault that aggro fort from more than one direction. Yeah, just a quick note there. Great placement.
Yeah, I totally agree. This is very good. I would like to see him maybe get control of this, just get control of this flag, so Frontline can't tell what his batches are and what he's shipping and everything. Because right now, I think Frontline actually has a little bit of a sneaky line of sight here. So any units that are walking on the front will get scouted. But let's take a quick look at ESOC's deck as well. Is there anything new? Not really. I think this is very, very standard stuff from both players. Elephant Combat is always good to see. I think 2 tournaments ago, we saw Azamk really utilize elephants and defeat some very, very top level players, but also a lot of H4 military shipments here, which I don't believe we saw in Frontline's deck. Not as many of them, more upgrades in H4, but I'd be very surprised if we see this game drag out to H4. I think it'll most likely, if they commit to H2 play, it'll end in H2.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I actually thought I was a little bit taken aback because when you talked about taking that trading post, I thought you were going to say you were hoping he builds the Mapuche settlement. And I thought you went crazy there for a minute. I was like, why?
No, just to get the line of sight.
Yeah. No, I mean, absolutely. I think both decks are good in their own way. I think the aggressive Agra is good. In terms of the India Mirror, I agree with what you said at the beginning. I prefer the defensive Carnimata. I just think it's a little bit stronger. And unless you can get significant damage with your early push, it just feels like the Carnimata outscales you very, very quickly in the early game. And we're kind of seeing that already. I mean, Frontline taking about 1,000 score advantage. Not a huge deal, but he certainly hasn't taken really any significant damage here. And I wonder what the next step here is for Ezad. You know, we have 10 Sepoy already for Frontline. And Ezad, is he making any units currently? He's got some Gurkha out on the field.
I think Ezad is actually maybe bluffing
diplomatic
a rush.
intrigue. Okay.
He's getting Imperial Bureaucracy. He's getting all his market techs, so those are in good shape. Frontline here, yep, getting his first one, Civil Servants now, and probably macroing for Imperial Bureaucracy as well. Honestly, this is such an underrated tech for these Asian dynasty civilizations. They're just so strong to have that Imperial Bureaucracy. It's basically like an earlier eco theory that doesn't really cost a card, but instead costs 150 of each resource. So I think, so recently I've been playing a lot of China, and that card is just so great for boosting the China eco, especially when you're going a little bit greedier in terms of your wonders and which wonders you're building. But anyways, I was just gonna make a quick joke that with Mapuche, right? Maybe he can go for this and go pure Rajput and just right-click the base.
I mean, maybe. People were also talking about there is the gold tech for the Mapuche. What is the name of that tech? Not that we're gonna see it, but it delivers 3 chests of coin every 2 minutes. Okay, maybe not as groundbreaking as I thought, but I think we're going to see an engagement here. Both armies sort of meeting to the west of the red Agra fort, but I mean, much higher in terms of unit count for blue, though. I mean, red does have the delis, and he does have more Gurkha, so it's actually more even than you might think.
Ooh, we're gonna see
actually, no, Gurkha numbers
coming out.
Yeah, Gurkha numbers actually look fairly even. Red's not in a huge advantage, but. Yeah, I want to see what Ezad does next, because obviously you're right in that the middle Agra fort kind of faked us out. We thought it was going to be early aggression, but that's certainly not what he's going for. He is poking and prodding with his delis, which is good. But are we going to be seeing like a transition into age 3 and just seize map control and go elephant here? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's possible. It looks like that's what his macro is heading towards now. Not building another house because he is expecting to not have to make units for the next 1 or 2 minutes. Shipping 700 coin, macroing for 1,200 food. And I'll expect him to be clicking up pretty soon. On the other hand, Frontline here, still batching some units, so he will be following a little bit slower. Because this is, again, I think Ezad is doing a little bit of a bait. He's poking in a little bit with his military, kind of like, oh, I'm about to timing you at this 9-minute mark. But instead of doing a timing, he's just going right back and aging up. And it really depends on when Frontline can kind of scout this and realize that something is not going quite right. No new units are being trained, and then make an adjustment to his game plan. Because look at that, he just made a wall here quickly because he was kind of, I assume he's very worried about a impending timing from Ezad here. But
he's got a ton of vills on berries too, which seems like a more defensive play as well. But I mean, if you're playing an India Mirror, I feel like the worst thing that can happen to you is you get caught in age 2 while your opponent gets up to age 3. He has access to elephants. He has access to some really, really powerful unit pops. And he has access, of course, to those disciplined upgrades. So Frontline in a precarious position here. And I think Ezad's going to get away with a clean sweep into age 3. And we'll have to see what blue does to counter it.
Yeah, but Frontline, I think, realizing that this timing is either too late or never coming, and so he's shipped 700 coin, he's gathering for 1,200 food, and he will be following up very quickly. I assume with 8 villagers on this wonder, and taking some quick shots at this deli, putting it down to 13 HP. And what will he be aging up with? I assume maybe Charminar Gates. That's what this one is called, right?
Well, I think, no, isn't red... Oh, yeah, red
Yeah,
is going with the Charminar gate.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
one. And I assume it's going to be the same thing. Getting that one Madhouse is pretty nice. I mean, 1100 HP, that's like a cur and a half, or 2 curs worth of HP, which is just very, very nice.
Yeah, I didn't see that blue was macroing so quickly for H3. I thought he was far more behind than he actually was. But, I mean, red still has a bit of a window here that he can push in, maybe do some damage. He does have the Mahout Lancer, and it'll be interesting to see what compositions they both go for, if they both just fully transition into elephants. It does look like Izad, that's what he's going for. He is sending the 2 Mahout Lancers, possibly going to be sending elephant combat very soon, and the 2 siege elephants as well would be very, very effective. But I'm not sure if that's what Frontline's going to do. Frontline has been investing a lot more into infantry, so maybe he's going to go that direction instead.
Yeah, I mean, I think Izada's missed a couple batches. The Sepoy mass and these Gurkha mass have not really grown at all. And I don't think Siege Ellies is the right time to ship that. You know, Frontline is about to run out of res in his base, so he needs to push it out. So there's no really need to be forcing the issue in his base with Siege Ellies sieging everything. You want military advantage so that you can continue this containment. But right now, I agree. I think Izad has a little bit of a timing here before Frontline's first shipment comes in. And it's going to be sent. It's going to be 9 Sepoys. And maybe if he can make something happen, probably 1 villager will be going down. But again, this is such a great choke that Frontline has made in his base, right? Madhouse is not known for good pathing. Not going to be able to
and there's just not enough reinforcing infantry either. Like if, you know, like you said, if Izad had gotten those full batches, he would have enough infantry to push in and support his elephants. But right now, because he only has a handful of Gurkha and a handful of Sepoy, those elephants are really going to have to do a lot more work than they would need to ordinarily. And I think, you know, Izad making the right call there, pulling back. He knows that the engagement is not to his favor yet, but he is always going to have that 1 to 2 minutes of age 3 progression in his favor, and maybe he can utilize that.
Yeah, I think what matters is here is the XP curve, and I think Izad is somehow a little bit ahead, actually. So he's about to get a second H3 shipment, while Frontline here, because I believe he shipped that 5 Sepoy card. So yeah, he shipped an extra shipment in H2. He's a little bit behind on his shipment curve, even though he had more llamas, and I think maybe even took some more favorable trades.
Oh, wow. Chat making a couple of great observations here, Barron. Okay, so number 1, I haven't really focused on map control, but yeah, because of that aggressive fort, Izad does have fantastic map control, and he's even got a second town center on the far east of the map, which is just a very Izad move. You know, pushing in with his military while also making a second TC. But that is going to significantly change the economic balance of this game. Being able to double produce vills, he's going to be able to overtake Frontline's advantage very quickly unless some big fight happens quite soon.
Yeah, I mean, right now the economy is extremely similar. Exactly 41 vills for both players. Frontline, I think, is a little bit ahead because of the Carney Mata. However, yeah, as you said, putting up that TC with a
we're going to see an engagement here, I think. No, not quite. They keep they keep bobbing and weaving. Just a preliminary skirmish right now, but the reinforcing infantry from Izad is starting to grow. The Gurkha numbers looking very, very even, and we have to remember that the Mahout Lancer numbers are in favor of red. So if he can just get a good engagement here with his elephants on the infantry, he might be able to swing it in a big way. Second town center now going down for blue, but the Delhi's still raiding in blue's base. Great control there by Izad. I don't know if he got a villager or not. But yeah, it looks like red is finally ready to be aggressive and push out across the map.
But actually a TC going down very aggressively for Frontline here in the middle of the map. And this TC, I think, will give him a lot of line of sight and potentially kind of secure these hunts towards the bottom half of the map as well, just because of how aggressively it's placed and how much kind of control it exerts around the center of the map. But so I mean, again, now the ecos are balanced out. We have 2 town centers against 2 town centers, but a little bit of a flank play here. Izad taking his army around all of this and hitting Frontline's main base from the top side.
Yeah, that was an excellent play. Now, he doesn't want to get caught. He wants to stay in reinforcement range of his aggro fort, and it looks like that's what he's about to do. Now, 3 Mahout Lancers for frontline. He even healed that one injured one with his Explorers, which was really smart. But now the army's looking almost identical here, Barron. So this is really going to come down to micro. It looks like frontline is going to catch this third town center trying to go down from Ezad. That's going to be a wonderful catch for him. And it's going to make sure that the economies stay almost dead even.
That's a bit greedy, I think. Like, you know that both players have a big mass now, so you don't really want to be sacrificing batches for a new TC, which costs 500 wood, right? And he's actually pretty popped here, so I don't know about that decision. On the other hand, so frontline now pushing in, he's going to be able to do some infrastructure damage while the army is near the central aggro forts. But here, Ezad posturing for a surround here with the Mahout Lancers and the infantry coming in. I think the Sepoy mass is in favor.
Oh, look at that! More Lancers coming out from the rear!
Oh, this is impossible to micro.
Catch. No way, frontline is cooked. Oh god, the infantry are getting engaged. The Mahout Lancers getting a great snare on the infantry, trying to go back onto the Gurkha. And the Mahout Lancers for blue, they're doing so much running around, they're not really doing any effective damage, and the Sepoys taking them out quickly, even calling the Minutemen from the town center. And this was a great catch by Ezad, though. I do think frontline's going to get a lot of his infantry away, but taking a lot of parting shots here, and all of his Mahout Lancers going down, though he did kill all of the Mahout Lancers for Ezad as well. So maybe a more balanced trade than I originally thought.
Well, this is definitely a good trade for Ezad, I think. He was able to really thin out the Gurkha mass in the beginning of that fight. A couple of them just went down for free because the Mahouts. So generally, right, the drag box micro is very effective when you're getting attacked from one direction. You can just flip your army, put your heavy infantry in front, and deal with the Mahouts. But there, that was like a complete pincer move. And frontline just didn't know what to do with the Sepoy. Like, he can't drag box that and flip your Sepoy to both sides and keep the Gurkha in the middle, right? So that was a incredible, I think, positional play there from Ezad. But good micros, nevertheless, from frontline kept him from losing his entire mass there. So I think the game is still going. That was a good trade for Ezad, and we see from the score that it's now balanced out. I think frontline had a slight lead going into that fight.
He had about a 2K score lead.
Yeah, so not too much, but I think that was just slightly favored, definitely, for Ezad.
Now, I do wonder, would that have gone even better for Ezad if that had been Yurmi instead of Mahouts?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Urumi are one of the best units in the game, I think. But against Mahout Lancers of his own, I'm not sure. Obviously, Mahouts do 2x damage against Urumi, who are classified as light infantry. So,
look at that. Ezad even... He got that third TC up after all. Look at the way north of the map. It's closer to Frontline's base than his own. But, I mean, that is going to secure a vital set of hunts here. And that really was Frontline's next potential food income. So maybe a good TC placement there from Ezad. Oh, wow, we have Redcoats coming in here from Frontline as well. And I don't know, maybe at the end of the day, that was a good pullback for Frontline. He did get a lot of his infantry away pretty unharmed, though the fact that he's transitioning to rice paddies now does have me a bit concerned for his economy going forward.
Yes.
Oh, does he see that? He does see that now. So maybe that's a new target for him. What's unfortunate is in order to go for that town center, you basically have to abandon your own town center down here, because that is just such a long walk for these infantry units. And in the time that it takes Frontline to get his army up over... Oh! Ezad here just sneaking in an H4 completely out of the blue. We probably should have been paying a little bit more attention here.
Huge move by Ezad, and that is a big swing. Oh, that is a huge swing. And the fact that Frontline is just now transitioning to rice paddies, that is such a perfect timing for Ezad. This could be the big momentum shift that we've been looking for. And just like you predicted, he's going for that second town center while Frontline is going for his in the far north. And now Frontline has to decide, does he turn his army around, waste all that walking time, or does he just decide to trade town centers, which he can, but it does still mean he'll be down a town center, even if they both take out each other's. Wow, what a big play by Ezad.
Yeah, lots of cards as well in H4. He has that 4 Mahout shipment for 1,000 food. And then the Mysorean rockets, the British rockets, they're consulates. They're even better than normal rockets. So I don't know. I mean, this is a very, very nice play from Izad. Again, kind of baiting, right? Oh, I'm about to... I just took a good fight. I'm going to crush you now. So pushing frontline back. And then just going back to his base and aging. These are some Giga Chad moves, I think, from Izad.
Yeah. Wow, that's so many Lancers from frontline. Where did he get all those from? I guess that's what he's been investing in instead of aging up, yeah. But it's the two rice patties here that are kind of the ugly part of Frontline's base right now. The fact that he's had to transition to those, they are very, very costly. Now, granted, if this game goes much farther, they're going to be useful, but it looks like we are going to be seeing a fight here. Both infantry's getting engaged. The Mahout's getting engaged as well. And I don't think Izad has had time to get any of his industrial upgrades, but whoa, what are the Mahouts doing? They're pulling back. They're going for...
The Rumi.
Oh, he did pop Yurumi, getting them into the back of Frontline's core here, and actually Izad taking this fight quite well. Did he get some of those upgrades after all?
He has Honored Gurkha and Super, so definitely.
Oh, okay. I thought he didn't have those yet, and I was wondering why his infantry were just mulching blues here, but yeah, this is a really, really good engagement. Almost
PG,
all of the Mahouts going down. Yeah, this is, and I mean, oh God! Oh, dude's coming out! This is huge!
Here.
No! Oh God! He calls the ceasefire at the perfect time, and now look at this.
It's just
no, I don't think so.
Coming. What is he gonna save this with?
I don't know. He's gonna try to pull back to the Aggro Fort and maybe just try to get a little bit more of a better trade here. But these guys are about to get cooked. Look at the Mahout Lancers. They're just following him. They're giving him the side eye the entire way. And there goes the ceasefire. It's now off, and the Mahouts are spread all through the army. There is still no significant anti-cav, and Izad's army is going to be absolutely owned here. Now, the one thing is he is still in age 4. He's still got that big advantage. Maybe he can make some sort of pop here. Out come the Sepoy. This is what he needs, but is it going to be enough? I don't know. Oh, that was such a huge pop from Frontline.
The Sepoy's going in. He has enough Gurkha here in the back as well. Oh, these bills getting pulled a little bit, but these Madhouse, they can just be on top of the bills because they're not useful here against the Sepoys. And I think this is a little bit of a comeback. The score is still very, very even. 80 bills for Izad, only 63 bills actually for Frontline. So
it was a huge win for Frontline, but again, I'm going to point out that Izad is in H4. He does have the honored upgrades for his infantry, and he does still have 2 TCs. So if he can rebuild, and he's still on hunts, something else we need to point out, while Frontline has built a 3rd rice paddy. So yes, great win, did get him back in the game, but Izad still, it feels to me like he's in the driver's seat right now, even after that Mahout pop.
Yeah, we got a couple red coat raids. I don't think they actually caught any bills so far, but they're kind of just being sneaky, hiding in the tree line here in that little defensive position, and just waiting for any bills to get over there. But again, so we have a little bit of a bill lead for Izad here, 14 villagers in front of Frontline, and as you mentioned, still being on hunts is very, very nice. Although I think he should be transitioning soon as well, because these are his last hunts, I believe.
We can see the culmination of Izad being in age 4. I mean, just look at how quickly the score returned to, being in his favor from being even. He's now keeping up a 2K score lead pretty consistently. And unless Frontline can follow him into age 4 fairly quickly, but it doesn't look like he is. It looks like he's really being invested in this Mahout play, and I don't know, is this eventually just going to not be enough? I mean, the Aggro Fort's going to go down in the middle.
I think the longer this goes, definitely the better it is for... Oh, 4 Madhouse popping! Is this going to be the reverse?
Oh, another... God, that's like the 4th... That's the 4th Mahout pop of the game, but, there's a lot of Sepoys. There's a lot of counter Mahouts here as well. But we have to remember these Mahouts are incredibly expensive in the food department, and because Frontline's on rice paddies, these Mahouts are incredibly costly, and so losing them in even trades like this is not the kind of engagement he needs. He needs to be getting very cost-effective trades, and it doesn't really look like that's what he's getting, and we're just seeing the honored upgrade. They're absolutely dumping on their age 3 counterparts here, and that felt like a pretty clean trade in Izad's favor.
Yeah, that trade did not go well for Frontline, and I think that'll be the end of the game, because Frontline had to continue taking good trades, because he had that. He was down in his tech advantage, right? Discipline versus honored units, and also down in economy, because only 70 bills against 87 now. So Izad almost on max builds here. So yeah, I think that was the trade that Izad was looking for, thinning out Frontline's army, and now I think he is gonna guarantee a win if he can convert to this position.
Third TC also back up for Izad on the south of the map.
Taken down here though.
Oh, but it's gonna go up immediately.
He moved the TC from here to here and just said, okay, I guess he sees my
fine,
TC.
whatever.
Just gonna move it 4 blocks towards the right here. Or 4 tiles.
It does now make this castle visible to Izad, and it looks like he's going to be taking that out very quickly. And, I mean, Frontline, unless he's in his base and he can get some sort of pop, taking an engagement in the open field really is kind of suicidal for him because he knows he cannot beat these honored upgrade units. And now, look, he's pushing the aggro fort again, and I don't think we're going to be seeing another Mahout pop, but at this point, is killing the aggro fort really that big of a win?
Looks like there's like raids going all over the place right now.
Yeah, it's getting pretty crazy to follow.
Yeah, batch.
Oh, that could be a huge raid in the northern coin mine. There's like what, 7, 8, 9 vills there,
yeah,
and his army is so far removed.
A little bit. They're here. They saw the redcoats.
1 vill going down, 2 vills going down. We have a vill migration in the south, Barron. What the hell is going on? Good lord. There are raiding units everywhere. There are TCs everywhere. Oh, another huge catch by the Mahouts. Oh, villagers being massacred by the elephant raid. Oh, they're coming. They're coming. But, oh, there's going to be so many lost vills here. Izad down to 72 villagers from 87. And now we're seeing a redcoat raid on this batch. And I don't know if the delis are still raiding up in the north. I don't think so. But we're going to be seeing an engagement here. Mahout on Mahout. And do the red Mahouts have the H4 upgrade? I think that's going to be a huge thing to check. They do have the honored upgrade. That is going to be big. And look at how quickly these Mahout Lancers are going down for blue here. And again, this is a huge food investment. They're not going to be easy to replenish. And these Mahouts in the back, keeping the infantry pinned down, doing a great job snaring. And this is going to be a very clean sweep for red. And I think this is going to be the nail in the coffin that you were talking about for Izad.
Well, he actually survived there. I think the Mahouts got a little bit too far and got meleeed by the Sepoys without any returning fire. But a full batch of 5 more honored Mahouts coming in. And this is going to be hard to deal with. If he can coordinate his units well in position, though, it'll work out very, very well.
Yeah, I mean, survived is a strong word there, Barron. I think temporarily escaped would be a more accurate description because once these Mahouts get on these infantry, I mean, he's out upgraded and he's outnumbered at this point. There really is no chance of Frontline winning a direct engagement, and I think Izad knows that. And so he's just going to start sieging down all of Frontline's kind of external castles and buildings, and he's just going to dare Frontline to come fight him. But now we're seeing more Mahouts coming out. We're going to get a surround here. Is it going to happen? No, it looks like Izad's going to pull out just in time, but the Gurkha being caught. Oh, I can't tell. I still think it's going to be a decent engagement for red, just because of the honored upgrades. They go so far.
I don't know about this. The Mahouts are on the Gurkha here. The Seaboy are getting completely thinned out. Great micro by Frontline. 1 Mahout still left alone on the Gurkha. Is this not a cleanup?
Now you might be right, actually. Yeah, it is going to be a cleanup.
So the builds are now equal again from Frontline and Izad. And actually, Frontline, because he's already transitioned, has a little bit of an advantage. Izad here is macroed completely for wood right now. 57 villagers stacking 4,000 wood. Almost.
Oh, good lord.
He needs to quickly get those rice paddies down because, I mean, he can't be stacking 4,000 wood in the semi-final or quarterfinals of a...
With 150 food.
What is going on? There's no remass here for Izad.
I have no idea. I mean, what shipments does he have available? Is there like some big pop
rockets
coming? Oh, wow. I mean, what a rocket's going to be.
More bills going down on the top here.
Oh, no. Izad!
I think he caught it a bit too soon. I think he was surviving there on the front line with that good trade. And now these villagers again migrating because they have nowhere to gather. And, okay, so he's managed to smack down some rice paddies in the back to get some food builds on. Maybe he can... starts to get some bills on food and maybe spam out some of these honored Mahouts, but I mean, this macro is not what you want to see. 3,000 wood still being stacked. All of his villagers idled now. Just walking
There's like
and running
20 of
away.
them in that town center. That town center is going to go down so quickly, and those villagers are going to be absolutely toast. No way, Frontline. This would be one of the most amazing comebacks we have seen in the entire tournament. And a ceasefire coming out once again. It'll buy him time to get his army there, but is that going to make much of a difference? The red army has been severely depleted, and like you said, the macro from Ezad looking sloppy here. And yeah, that reinforcing batch is not very encouraging. Look at that, they're turning away.
We have 5 seconds. What is he going to do? Is he going to sack his army and his vills, or just sack his vills? Let's take a look here, because there's no conceivable way this army... Yes, he has the tech advantage. I get it. He has the honor status, and he has a pretty big vill pool here, but... How many units are there? There's only 23 units for Ezad here, and 52 units for Frontline. I mean, I don't know, 30% better units, but like half the number of units is not a good statistic for you.
Yeah, and I mean, the villagers are just falling quickly, and the Sepoys proving how bad of an anti-cav unit they really are. I mean, they've been hacking at these Mahouts pretty much the entire fight, and I don't think they've managed to kill even one yet.
Well, they've been
and
walking
look at them,
right? A little bit faster. More Irumi coming in. These Irumi are going to be good if the Mahouts are able to get focused down.
But we got to check the build numbers. We got to check the build numbers. How many does Ezad have?
69 now.
69, let's go!
Well, he is kiting these Irumi very well. I think Frontline just had really great positioning in every fight. Ezad just couldn't take the trade that he needed it. I mean, yes, we were arguing that he was surviving. But really, Frontline was just delaying until he could get back into this game. And yeah, I mean, Ezad just could not finish him when he had the chance.
Oh, man.
This has got to hurt. This loss has got to hurt.
That was brutal for Ezad, especially being in such a commanding position there just 5 minutes ago. And oh man, it was that final pop of Mahouts that just did him in. And like you said, I mean, Frontline's positioning in those fights was incredibly good. He was always getting his Mahouts, you know, not just charging them at the front line, but getting them in the front and in the back, running them around, distracting the Sepoys. And wow, what a comeback by Frontline. What an absolute comeback.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at the military population graphs, I think Ezad just could not take a good fight throughout that entire game. He just got out-microed. See, this fight at 20 minutes, they had the same military pop starting off, but after the fight, Frontline had 50 units left and Ezad had 13. Very, very good fights for Frontline. And later on, same thing happened. Ezad had 116 military pop compared to just 108, right? And this big Mahout pop that I think we caught from the stable managed to kind of really turn this fight around, and Ezad lost almost all of his units. And that, I think, was the game ender there. Overall, looking at the villager population, both players, I think, had some pretty phenomenal raids. I mean, it was very close all the way up until 20 minutes. And then Frontline got raided hard, losing probably 10 villas around here, right? Including the villas being trained. But then Ezad being brought all the way down from almost max villas to just 70 villas, where that, I think, I actually can't remember where that big raid happened. It wasn't the TC. The TC was the last part, but I think there was a big raid in the center, right?
It was just where you just were on the map. It was to the right of that trading post slot, because I remember the villagers trying to run past there, flee back to the original town center. That's where the elephants caught them.
Yeah, and the Mahouts were just wailing on them. But that has got to hurt. But very, very well played by Frontline. I mean, this is what the kind of discipline, I guess, that you need to claw yourself back into the game from a pretty losing position, I think, when Ezad hits H4. So very, very impressive. The chat really wants to see the